Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to give a little bit of a talk about an incident that happened to me yesterday that was quite humbling. As well as that, I've got a small recipe here that I'm going to prepare. It's for a banana and blueberry loaf, and I'll just go through my stats and that in just a moment. Hi. Right, now just to get into it, the routine stuff is the stats that I usually post. I've put those in today. All my blood pressure and everything's looking okay at the moment. And I've also done the program for the food that I ate yesterday. So now that that's all done, I'm going to prepare today a recipe, and it's a blueberry loaf. Now what I do with this, I prepare it in a bulk amount. I then divide it up to six portions, which I then freeze and put away for whenever I want them. But one serving is really good if you just want to have a cup of tea mid-morning or a cup of coffee and you just feel like something to have a nibble on. These here are this is just lovely. You feel like you're spoiling yourself a wee bit. So I'll just get on with it. Okay, we start off with some rolled oats. We've got, let me have a look at my little list, 90 grams of rolled oats, so they go in there. Then we have a vanilla protein powder. Now, it's up to you which powder you use. The one that I use is this one, which is an Atkins, from the Atkins diet. It's a protein powder. And you have, with that is half a cup of that. So that also goes into the mix. And from there, then we add in a couple of eggs. I've got the eggs here. I'll just add those in right now and just break those up and start to mix it around a wee bit. Just to break those up. Now I've also got here some maple syrup, and I use the 0 calorie one, which is not really maple syrup. It's more of a maple flavoured syrup, but it is 0 calorie, which is really good. Sort of a bit of an imposter, really. It's not really maple syrup, but it does the job as far as tasting things go. So from there, I've got a bit of baking powder. I add in a teaspoon of baking powder. I've got that there. It goes in. And then we have just a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. That goes in there. And then I also have just half a teaspoon of cinnamon powder. And that goes in there like that. So that just gets a bit more stirred. Now, to water that a wee bit, what we now use is almond milk. Now, you can get whatever type you like. That's the one I've got here at the moment. You can get them with, you get them unsweetened, which is the best thing to do. And I've got here, how much have I got? Almond milk, 125 mils. So that's about half a cup. So just pop that into there and give that a bit of a stir. It's looking a bit sort of more pliable. So just give that a bit of a stir. You don't have to beat the eggs beforehand or anything like that, but just make sure it doesn't have that you get all the lumpy bits out. And just stir that up like that. Just to about that consistency there. And the other thing that I have got now is some ripe bananas. Now I've already mashed these up. They're just 2 ripe bananas. already mashed, and pop those into there and give that a good stir. And you can see the consistency of it there. It's just nice and just like so. All fingers and thumbs here, but we're getting it all stirred up. It's all good. Right, now the last thing that goes in there is our blueberries. I always have blueberries in the freezer. I like to take them out before I need them to let them thaw out, because you do get a certain amount of juice in the bottom of them once they've thawed, and I prefer to use that juice to go into the mix now, rather than have it just seeping out of the blueberries as it's cooking, because it's not going through the mix as thoroughly. So there's a wee bit of juice in the bottom of that, and I'll just see, we can see there, and then I just pour the blueberries in. So that goes over there. So those are all stirred in, just to mix them through. You can see the consistency of that there. I guess you could put a few more blueberries, but that, if you do, you have to count their energy value into the recipe as well. So that's all mixed through there. Now over on the side here, I've got one of these floppy things for cooking in the oven, and I have already put some just lined it with a bit of margarine in there just to get it a bit moist, stop this sticking to it, and then I just pour the mix into there. Okay. And I just spread it across there so that it looks like thus. Now, that will need to go into the oven. It goes in at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 40 minutes. What I usually do is put it in for about 30 minutes to start with, and then I check it again after half an hour. I do that because I've got a different oven than when I first started doing this, and I found that when I did it with this oven, it was cooking a lot faster. So I always just like to check it after half an hour just to see how it is. And then if it's done, it's done. Otherwise, I'll pop it back in for that last 10 minutes. So I shall just get that now into the oven for total 40 minutes, but split between 30 minutes and 40 minutes. And I'll come back when it's all done. Okay, I'll just get on and tell my little story of yesterday. Just while I was having a clean up there, I dropped a plate in the sink, and it broke, and a piece threw up and into my finger. It's bleeding like mad, and of course, because I'm on blood thinners, it bleeds pretty badly. So, excuse my little wrapped up finger. So yes, what happened yesterday? I went off to the supermarket, and I seem to be always going to the supermarket. Just as I was going in, I met up with an old friend of mine. Now, just a bit of history on this lady. When my mum was alive and she was living here, this lady used to work as a home help. And she was one of the ladies that would come round on a daily basis and help my mum. She would help her make sure she was out of bed, help her have a shower, help her get dressed, help her have a breakfast, make sure she had a breakfast, and then make her bed. Now, I was working at this time. I was still working full time. I'm going back to 2014, 15. Mum passed away in 2016. So anyway, this lady was one of Mum's home helps, and as I said, I used to head off to work at 6:30 in the morning and wasn't home till 5:30 at night. So it was a pretty hard job for me to keep an eye on her. So this lady, amongst others, used to come around on a daily basis and just make sure Mum was all set for the day and all settled, and I always had lunch for her, so that was fine. Anyway, this lady, she had to give up work in the end because she had COPD, which is congestive something or other, pulmonary disease. I'm not too sure what the words are. I'll find it. But anyway, she had to give up work because she got quite ill. And now I think she's probably about a year older than I am. Yeah, maybe 2 years older than I am. So she had to give up work, and it was before Mum passed away, probably 12 months or so before Mum passed away. And so she had her own health issues that she was dealing with. Anyway, kept in touch with her a little bit then, and then when my mum passed away, in 2018, I decided to do a master's degree. And one of the subjects for my thesis, I asked this lady if she would mind being interviewed, and she says, yep, that was fine. So I interviewed her and got the interview and everything done. But she was very, very poorly at the time. Her breathing was very, very laboured. She wasn't well at all. And I said to her, I says, how's things going? Because we can speak very honest with each other. And she says, well, it's not looking really good. And I think I interviewed her about July. And what she had done is got all of her Christmas shopping done for that year, got everything all wrapped up with the cards and everything for her kids and her grandkids, because she said to me, June, I'm not going to make it by Christmas time. So I've wanted to get this all done, so I've done this. So that was a bit hard to deal with, but anyway, that was fine. Christmas came and went, and I'd sort of think, haven't heard from her, I better go and have a chat and see if she's okay. I kept in touch with her, and she had a few bouts in and out of hospital, and she seemed to be getting a bit worse, and then she'd get a bit better, and I said, and then she had, I think, about a 3-week stint in hospital, and I said to her, how are you? She said, well, they found out that the doctor had prescribed the wrong medicine for her. And instead of the medicine helping her, it was making her worse. So they changed all her medications and sent her home. So that would have been probably in 2020, it was round about the COVID time. So she's still quite poorly. But she's still alive. Here we are, 2025. She still has this congestive, this breathing issue that she's got. And at the moment too, she's been in and out of hospital because she's bleeding. She coughs up blood quite a lot, which they think is polyps. And of course, she passes blood as well, which they believe is just the polyps. So she has to go into hospital, and every couple of weeks or so she's got to have blood transfusions. And then she found out that the reason that she has to have these blood transfusions is because of some of the other medication that they've put her on. And she said, well, I'm going to go off them. And they said, well, you can't because you might have a stroke. So she said to me, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm the devil if I do and the devil if I don't. So at the moment, she's still taking her medications, and she still has to go into the hospital every couple of weeks for a blood transfusion. But it was either that or she go off them and have the possibility of having a stroke. And I thought, oh gosh, but I'm just amazed that here we are from when she first had to give up work, which was about 2015, because she was ill. And here we are 10 years later, and she's still plugging along, and she's just a little thing. She's just knee-high to a grasshopper. There's nothing to her. but boy, has she got spirit. And I applaud her. Part of the reason I did the thesis with her is that she was a solo mum and she brought up 3 boys on her own. And those were big boys, and they put her through the ringer quite a lot. And she had quite a sad story to tell about her and her boys growing up and raising them on her own. They're fine now. They're good young, they're men, they've got children, and they treat her very, very well. And I think they also regret the way that they treated her when she was on her own, working all the hours that God gave her. And one of the things she told me was that when she was working, she had about 3 jobs on the go, and she got home one night and the 3 boys, teenagers, had their girlfriends there. And they were all just sitting on the couch, just watching TV, waiting for her to come home. And she said, couldn't you have got something started for dinner? And they just looked at her and says, no, we're waiting for you. So 3 teenage boys and their girlfriends all sat there and just watched her, waited for her to come home from her 3rd job of the day and prepare a meal. So I can understand why she's such a tough little thing, but I do feel so sad for her. But the thing, that's right, I'm getting off the subject, the thing that was so humbling was I said to her yesterday, I said, because she looked at the way I was walking and she says, are you okay? I says, oh, I've got a couple of knee replacements coming up. And she says, oh no. She says, look, while you're recovering, she said, if you want me to come round to the house and do anything for you at all, just give me a yell and I'll be there in a second. And I thought, this poor woman she basically had a life sentence 10 years ago. She looked after my mum, and here she's now saying to me, if there's anything you want, I'll come round and help you out. That's just the sort of person that she is. And she's just an absolute dear. So anyway, that was my little piece of appreciation for a very, very lovely lady yesterday. And just, hats off to her. She's just a star. And I'm quite sure there are many others out there just like her, but I was just a bit flabbergasted when I got home. So anyway, that's my little story, and I'll get back and see how all this baking's been going. Okay, now we are finally cooked. I did give it the 30 minutes. Then I had a look at it and gave it a little bit of a test, and I just gave it another 5 minutes. So it's really just had 35 minutes altogether. So I've taken it out now and I've got it just in this little floppy pack. Now what I've got to do is the magic trick of getting it out and putting it on the tray. There we go, just like that. So just move it around a little bit if I can. There we go. So there it is. Steam coming off it, looking really nice. Now what I do with that, I just cut it into 6 even pieces. So just there and then there. And I do that once it's cold, and then I put it in the freezer. Now all I do is just get some Glad wrap, the cellophane. Just get some of that and just wrap each piece up individually and put them nice and handy at the front of the freezer so that when I'm needing one, they're right there. But yeah, it pays to take it out in advance if you're going to have it, take it out in the morning, if you're going to have it sort of mid-morning or afternoon, just to give it a chance to thaw out. I don't reheat it. I haven't bothered trying to heat it or add anything with it. I'll just see if I can cut it down the middle with my knife. So I'll have an estimate of what halfway looks like. And just cut that down there. And you can see there, it's looking just delicious. It smells, I just want to eat it. So that's that all done. And yeah, and as I say, once it's all done there, I just put that back in the freezer. Put them in the freezer, and they're ready to take out whenever you feel like one. I usually have no more than one a day because I've got the energy levels there, which are significant, but it's nice just to be able to have something when you feel like it with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. All right, that's it then. Okay, and so that's me for the day, and I hope you've been a little bit entertained, if not with my story, but with my cooking. As I said, I'm no flash cook. So anyway, I shall get going, and that's it from me. And to everybody out there, please take care and stay safe. Okay, bye-bye.